Thanks for joining us today at Unstuck Your Business Podcast.
You went into business with a passion to explore your skills and talents and show the world what you can do to contribute into our society and into our economic ecosystem. But a couple of years into the business and your drive and motivation has dwindled, and now you feel stuck.
When you find yourself at this crossroad of thoughts and emotions, how do you deal with it? In this podcast, we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of entrepreneurship to help you unstuck your business. We are your hosts, Inés Nazario Vega from Business Essentials Virtual Assistants.
And Edith Duran from Reason Marketing.
You know that spiral when one small thought turns into a cascade of self-doubt, worry, or frustration? It can feel overwhelming, even paralyzing. But here's the good news. You don't have to stay stuck. Negative thinking is like a mental playlist on repeat. And just like any playlist, you can hit pause, reset, and choose a better track.
In today's episode, we'll explore simple, practical ways to recognize those negative thought loops, break free from them, and create space for clarity and optimism. We will share strategies for living your best life, one thought at a time. So grab a cup of coffee, take a deep breath, and let's hit the pause button on negativity together. To help us today with this topic, we have Holly Miller, a trauma recovery coach and certified Reset It specialist out of a little town on the western slope of Colorado called Rifle. Holly, welcome to Unstuck Your Business
Welcome,
podcast.
Holly.
And would you please tell us a little bit more about yourself? I'm so excited about this episode. I just have to throw that in because I want to learn more myself too.
Sure. What exactly would you like to learn about me?
Well, how did you get started in all this trauma coach and in the certification about Reset It? What is this all about? How did it all start?
Well, we'd have to go back decades if we're going to give the whole real snidbit. It started when I was 14. I was kidnapped alongside one of my good friends named Julie, and we were both raped. And that night essentially killed Julie. It just took Julie 37 years to die. So during those 37 years, Julie chose a lot of drugs and alcohol and horribly abusive men, and it ultimately took her life. And when that happened, it made me really, really dive deep into figuring out what it was I had done to not just survive all of that time, but I was really thriving. I had a very successful entrepreneurial business that I was running for nearly 10 years at that point. I was a wellness coach, and I was helping people with their health and wellness using natural medicine. And I was very successful at that and really enjoyed doing all of that. And I still enjoy helping people with their health and wellness goals. But I knew always from the back and depths of my soul that there was something more that I should be doing with my life. And it wasn't until Julie died that that really big epiphany hit and made me really analyze and understand that I had the roadmap to recovery and living a life of true freedom. And so I started to just dive in and figure it out and come up with all of the things that I knew I could do to help people. And it was during that time that I ran across a woman who I met on a networking event, and she said something like, I help people in 2 90-minute sessions reset their programs and their conditioned thoughts to that don't belong to them. And I use neuroscience and quantum physics. And I was so intrigued because I had been studying the brain in my health and wellness business for many years. And so I knew a lot about the brain and how the brain worked and how natural medicine could penetrate the blood-brain barrier versus allopathic medicine that couldn't, and all of the things. And so I decided that I was going to hire her for those 2 sessions. I'm like, I'm going to take your basic training course and I'm going to learn what this whole reset it thing is. And it was within the first 30 minutes that I absolutely wholeheartedly knew that this is what the women that I was coaching needed. And it was so strong that I knew I had to do it. And when I was offered the opportunity to become certified, I jumped in and I said, yes, please.
Well, Holly, I'm very curious because, mental health goes along with our thought process, right? We keep thinking the same negative thing. We go into this loop, then we go into these pity parties. But one thing that we keep hearing time and again is, go to a counselor, go to a therapist. But then you find these people going to counselors and therapists for the rest of their lives and not really getting any better or any worse. They're just like in plateau, some of them. And some of them I seen them get worse, and some of them I seen them get better. So, what is the difference of a resetted program versus the traditional counseling therapy that we hear time and again to improve our mental health?
I love that you asked this question. I was just actually had a really interesting conversation with a woman a couple of days ago about this. I think therapy and coaching are wonderful and they're great tools. And just like all good coaches, there are also not great coaches. And just like all good therapists, there's also not great therapists. And here's where we get a little lost because as a coach, as the best coach in the world, we still have societal programs. We still have parental programs. We still have trauma programs. All of the things that are sitting there until we have them reset. And so when we have a program and we are coaching somebody else, we are transferring potentially our programs onto our client. The same thing with therapists. Oftentimes we get into these spaces, and you heard I got into this space because of the trauma that I went through when I was 14. Most people go into these types of businesses because of their past.
Mm-hmm.
And with that past, they have their programs. So if we do not reset those programs that are sitting in our limbic system, we are working with them from our programs and not from who we are in our true and authentic self. So it can get very dangerous when we're working with people. And yes, it can. And when I talk about programs, I'm going to just be very honest. Programs are neither good or bad. They just are.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what it is. It's not a positive or a negative. Now, the outcome could transfer into a positive or a negative, but in and of itself, it is neither. And so we have to understand what belongs to us and what doesn't. And so I'm passionate about helping people understand that.
Holly, something that comes to mind is, the program sounds, honestly, it sounds amazing. It sounds like a miracle. Like, where has this been? Because, like you said, there are good therapists and maybe not some that don't click with you so well. Same with coaching. There are good coaches that are trying to get you to the finish line, and then there might be some that are, maybe again, you're not clicking with them. But this sounds like it's going so deep into your subconscious that it's a different approach altogether. Now, as the recipient or the participant of a Reset It program, how ready do you have to be to start to get started? I mean, because in your story at the beginning, there's Holly, there's Julie. Julie, unfortunately, looked to other ways to lead her life, and as you said, it killed her that day. Would If she would have been introduced to a program like this, would it have made a big difference? I guess that's what I'm wondering. Like, where do you have to be for this to work?
Well, I think the first part of the question is kind of a two-part question. You have to be willing to know that there's something else out there that you're wanting to explore.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it starts. If you're not willing to explore it, then there's nothing that's going to help, right? If somebody had come up to Julie and said, "Hey, Julie, there's this thing, and I think you should look at it," and Julie never looks at it, it's never going to help Julie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if somebody would have said, "Hey, Julie, there's this thing, you should look at it," and Julie looked at it, and she chose to go through the basic training, which is just two 90-minute sessions,
Mm-hmm.
right? Then absolutely, she would not have been in the place that she was in for very long, and she would have recognized it, and it would have been a very huge and profound transformation for her.
I'm still blown away by the fact that you say it takes two 90 minutes sessions. I mean, I'm thinking on the lines of, are we doing hypnosis or something like that? What is going on?
Yeah, you know what? I did speak to a hypnotist, and she said, it is a type of hypnotism, although that was her take on it. Um, and there is something to that, I would have to admit, because when you're driving and all of a sudden you look up and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't remember getting here."
Mm-hmm.
That's a form of hypnotism as well. And
Oh,
so
wow.
that in and of itself, if you look at the core of what hypnotism is, I guess it would be a part of that, but that's not how I look at it. I know that it's part of it, but it's not how it really works. I don't say, I'm going to say this word and all of a sudden, boom, you're hypnotized.
Yes.
And the truth is, I don't do any work. There's no work that I do. You, as a participant in the program, does all the work. I simply guide you on how to do it,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Mm-hmm.
why it's only two 90-minute sessions, because the goal really for me, and what the goal for should be for any therapist or coach, is to not need me.
Mm-hmm. That
That's
goes
the
for doctors
goal,
too. Yes.
is to not, I don't want anybody who needs me, because the
Mm-hmm.
truth is there's nothing that I have that I can give to them. Everybody has everything that they need within themselves. I just help them see it. I help them recognize it, reset it, and then they're free. And
Mm-hmm.
it is profound and it is fantastic. I just had one of my clients who've gone through the two sessions with me. She reaches out to me periodically. She reached out to me the other day, I guess yesterday or the day before, and she said, "Holly, I'm really struggling. I don't know if I need to hire you to do another session with me or what, but I'm really, really struggling and I don't know what to do. What do you think I should do? Should I hire you for another session?" And my response to her was, "You know exactly what to do. Get quiet, ask yourself the question when you're present, and the answer will come."
Mm-hmm.
And she wrote back to me a few hours later and she said, "Thank you. I'm better now."
Wow.
And that was it. I just had to remind her. She doesn't need to hire me.
Mm-hmm.
She just needed to be reminded that she had the answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's because I had that question pop in my mind before you started with your story, is how do you maintain your reset? You know, I mean,
Like,
our brains want to,
is it sustainable, the reset?
yeah. So I'm glad, you kind of address that. Like the answer is within you.
Hmm.
That's right. Hmm.
I kind of appreciate the fact it says 2 90-minute sessions. Again, going back to my first question, and where we see people that are ongoing through therapy or counseling. And after you explain the fact that these people their programs can be transferred onto their patients, I can understand now why these can be ongoing sessions, because it's almost like is, for lack of a better term, is a blind person leading another blind person kind of approach. But what I see from what you're saying is also, you mentioned it earlier, that this uses neuroscience and quantum physics, which is not something, it's not a term that is highly used in the counseling and therapy world. It's more like, let's talk it out, let's see what's there. So, how does this come into play, this neuroscience and quantum physics, into your program?
So neuroscience really is all it is the study of the brain, right? So it's just how the brain works. That's where your subconscious is located. It's in your limbic system, and it is connected to your gut as well. But we're really talking about the brain right now. So for this purpose, we'll stick with the brain. What happens is, as we go through life, when people say things to us, our limbic system has one job, and that is to keep us alive. And it holds the hippocampus, the hypothalamus, and the amygdala, which are really important to keeping you alive, right? It does your fear, your flight, your fright. And that is for things like my kidnapping. Like, if I was able to break free and leave real quick, because that was what my body went into. So it is an important part, but the limbic system keeps you alive. It's its only job, just to keep you alive. And so when it takes in information, it takes in all information that it's been given, whether it's true information or not, it doesn't matter. It takes it all in and sees it all as truth.
Mm.
And that's where your subconscious works from. It works off of that limbic system, right? Because that's where it's all stored. And your prefrontal cortex is connected to your limbic system, and that's your decision maker. So if your decision maker is working off of false information in your limbic system, it's no wonder we're not going further. It's no wonder we're stuck. It's no wonder we're on repeat. And so that's the neuroscience part of it. Now, the quantum physics part of it is just the exchange of energy, really. If we think about our bodies are made up of mostly water. And you know that if you were to throw a pebble into stagnant water, you'll see that ripple effect. And that's
Mhm.
the energy moving through the water. And so we, as human beings, project energy when we speak with somebody. And it depends on the type of energy. I have a more vibrant energy. So my energy is more explosive, right? Just naturally. And some people's energies are very relaxed and subdued, more like Matthew McConaughey, just chill. And that is just an energy field. And so when we exchange energy, and we're exchanging our energy in a place that is unauthentic, we're going to receive back exactly what we put out there. So if we are able to then reset those programs to work from an authentic place, the quantum energy that we're projecting out there is completely us. It's completely real. It's completely authentic, which is that buzzword going around, right?
Mhm.
And what we're getting back is exactly the same. So
Mhm.
when you go through it, people will respond to you differently
Mhm.
because you are projecting a different energy. And so it's a pretty cool win, you
Mhm.
know?
Hi, I'm Edith, owner of Riza Marketing, a boutique marketing agency in Orlando, Florida, where we have a small but mighty team dedicated to helping service businesses dominate in the Central Florida market. We begin by helping you discover your own secret sauce. You know, that one special something only you offer and your ideal clients love you for it. When you take pride in the service you offer and the experience you provide, but feel your marketing message isn't resonating with the right audience, we can help. When you're at a loss for creating advertising that evokes emotion and prompts action, we can help. Or if releasing viewer-worthy content with consistency is an ongoing challenge, we can help. Riza Marketing helps you define your unique flair and deliver creative content on a dependable schedule. Online marketing is easy when you have a team of pros by your side. If you're ready to make marketing fun again, then visit our website, rizamarketing.com. That's RIZA marketing.com and schedule your free discovery call today.
Yes. Um, this is fascinating to me. I mean, everything you're saying is like, I'm ready for it. Uh, I do have a question. How do you keep, and I think we said it earlier, how do you keep your program clean? How do you keep, because we keep on living, we keep on interacting with people, we keep on um, exchanging with society, exchanging with our family and what have you. And there's the thing about transfer energy as we live through life. How do we keep our program clean so we are not reprogrammed into things that will keep us stuck? Basically, how do we put on a repellent? Keep the
Well,
mosquitoes away.
I will tell you, there's really not a repellent per se, but there is what you do have is the ability to recognize it real quick,
Mhm.
and then you can reset it. Once you reset a program, it doesn't come back. So I had a program growing up that I was a spoiled brat. I was told all the time that I was a spoiled brat. I was the youngest of four. I got everything I wanted, all of the things. And it really, I mean, a lot of these do go back to the sandbox, right? And so my oldest sister would call me a brat, and I would have an instant reaction to it. I would put up my wall. I'd be like, I don't know why you say that. I'm the only one that didn't get a car when I turned 16 and blah, blah, blah. And I would start spewing all of the reasons why I wasn't a brat. I was having to defend um, that whole thought. And it was because I felt attacked every time she would call me a brat. I was like, that's not true. Why are you calling me that? And and I would get angry and all of this stuff. So when I went through resetting my things, I reset how I felt about the word brat and how I was projected this as a child. And I reset that whole thought. And it wasn't but maybe a week or two after I had reset this that I saw my oldest sister and she yelled out the back door. She's like, "All right, see you later, you brat." And normally I would have that reaction. And this time, guess what happened? Nothing. I didn't react at all. It was just like the word just went through me like chocolate. Oh, interesting. It was gone. And I was just like, I thought about it for a second. I'm like, do I feel that? Do I feel that? Do I feel that? Am I angry? And I'm like, no, this is great. And this
Wow.
and this was almost a year ago now that this particular thing happened. And guess what? My sister has not called me a brat since then.
Wow. You kind of reprogrammed her.
It was because I didn't give her the response. She knew
Mm-hmm.
it didn't affect me, and my quantum energy didn't change. It was still, I just was like, all right, see you later. Have an awesome weekend or whatever, you know? And I left, and it was fantastic. There was nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
It was just gone. So I'll tell you, um, does this mean that I don't get triggered or any of that? No. But what it means is when it does happen, I recognize it straight away and I know I can reset it straight away. And so, I mean, just last week, my husband said something to me, put me in a program. I recognized it, I reset it, and then I wrote about it the next day in my newsletter. I'm just like, let's just put it out there. It's going to happen. But here's what won't happen. He won't be able to do that again to me
Mm-hmm.
because I reset that. And that doesn't mean that you ever put up with anybody's abuse or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that, right? This
Mm-hmm.
isn't about putting up with abuse and just a poor relationship. That's not what this is about. This is about recognizing what belongs to you and what doesn't belong to
Mm-hmm.
you, you
Yes.
know?
Yes. When you were sharing the story with your sister, I was kind of like imagining that conversation going on. And when you said, oh, it's called you Brett, I would have said, and I love you too.
Yeah.
Kind of like, okay, you call me Brett, and I said, I love you too.
And that would be a conditioned response
Hmm. Hmm.
because you're just kind of, twisting it back. I
Yeah,
love
make
you
yourself laugh about
too.
it.
You
Hmm.
know?
Yeah. I do have a question because we have talked a lot about our childhood and how a lot of these programs come from our childhood. Not too long ago, actually about 2 weeks ago, Edith and I we hosted a retreat for a group that we have in Facebook. It's called Chicas y Gringas. It's a fun group, but once a year we have an annual retreat. And the theme of the retreat was being authentically you so you can manifest the life you want. And one of the exercises that we did was to talk to our inner child. Go
Mm.
back and let's talk to the inner child in us. Like imagine us talking. You mentioned, when we're kids, we can have different socks on and we don't care anything. We can have our hair all messed up. We can, talk to the green guy. Is it helpful to go through that kind of exercise also to reprogram your thoughts?
It's not necessary.
Okay.
But I think that there's weight in most things that we can do. I mean, we look at personal development, we read all these books, we look at all the things. I think the negative that can come from that is when we read the books or we take the coaching lessons or we go to the therapy and we don't do what they ask us to do for whatever reason. Maybe it's just too hard, maybe it's too difficult to go back to that thought. For some of us, it may be a very difficult thing to do, to go
Mhm.
back into that and to remember that, which could then end up having a negative consequence. So I think if you look at all of the different things, you look at all the manifestations and the affirmations and the um, visualizations and the goal setting and all that stuff, and if you look at it all from, again, neither good nor bad, it just is. But if you buy into it and you essentially don't do anything that that book says, or don't do everything that that book says or that coach says, then all you're doing is reinforcing why you suck, why you can't go forward, because you can't even do that. I can't even write 3 things in my gratitude journal a day for a week. I let you down. I disappointed not just my coach, but myself. Why did I even bother spending $15 on that book? I'm not even going to do the stuff in the book. And so you're just reinforcing all of the subconscious programming,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I
Mm-hmm.
think about this and I go, you know, we as women have upwards of 80,000 thoughts a day, subconscious thoughts. So these are thoughts that are just rolling through our head that we don't consciously think about. And almost all of those are programs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then of those 80,000 thoughts, 80% of them are on repeat, like that broken record, like you said at the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of those 80% of repetitive thoughts, 80% of that are negative. So you're thinking tens of thousands of thoughts a day that are on repeat and they're negative. And then we wonder why we can't be successful. We wonder why we can't feel better. We wonder why we can't do what we need to do when we need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we can reprogram, reset rather, those programs that are negative on repeat,
Mm-hmm.
we're changing the trajectory of everything that our decision maker, which is our prefrontal cortex, has to work from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we're projecting out all
Mm-hmm.
the good stuff. And we're talking real truth in our repeat thoughts.
Mm-hmm. I so totally can relate to what you're saying, Holly, because I have always been very big in self-development books and workshops and things of that nature. Edith and I, we talk about it all the time. We participate in workshops here and there. And I can see how, because at least my personality is, I want to do it. I want to commit to this and I want to do it. And then a little bit of the perfectionist in me is when, I want to do it within the next 24 hours. But then I get into this self-induced failure feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, oh, like you said, I messed up. I have not written my 3 gratitudes for the day. Oh, I messed up because I didn't have my 10-15 minutes of meditation 2 days a day. Oh, I messed up because whatever the reason may be. And it's an really icky feeling. I don't like it. and I'm not sure how the audience is getting this, but I feel like, our audience is mostly small business owners. And I do feel like as small business owners, the expectations are like higher, even from society, from our family and what have you. And then on top of that, we put our own in self-induced pressure
Mm-hmm.
on top of it. It's like insult to injury here. So um I guess my question to this is, where do we stop? I know you said something that there's the 290 sessions, 90-minute session, but how do we stop this from eating us up?
I want to add to that is, how can you stop and how can you identify it? Because
Self-induced.
yeah, I imagine that when you're, and you can please correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're resetting it, you have to identify it also. But I don't know if that's a correct assumption or not.
Right. So the 2 things that I teach you during these 2 90-minute sessions is the first thing you have to do is recognize when you're in a program or a conditioned belief or response. And then the second thing is I teach you how to reset that once you recognize it. The best thing that you can do to recognize it, and we all know it. Somebody says something to us, something happens, we read something, we see something on social media, whatever it may be, and our response is physiological. We can feel it. Maybe we feel it in our heart, we feel it in our brain, we feel it in our neck, we feel it in our gut, some people in their teeth, but you have a physiological response. That is your first clue that that is a program and it does not belong to you, and it's available to be reset. So if you are having these physiological reactions to whatever, some people call them triggers, right? Then that is your key. That's how you'll know.
Well, Holly, thank you so much. And, in the interest of time, because we like to keep this podcast to 30 minutes, although we can keep on going. We can keep on going. This is a very fascinating topic. But what would you say is the 3 main takeaways for our audience from this discussion?
I would say the 3 main takeaways is to recognize that this crap isn't yours. Make a plan to figure it out and keep on living.
Keep on living. I think those are really good, simple, yes, powerful 3 main takeaways. So, Holly, where can our audience connect with you? And do you have any perhaps group programs or anything of that nature that can help our audience?
I don't have any group programs that I am currently working on, but they can come and see my website. It is ambo.net. So it's A as in apple, M as in Mary, B as in boy, O as in Oscar, H as in Harry.net.
ambo.net.
Yep.
Well, and for the benefit of our audience, we will have this in our podcast notes as well. Well, thank you so much, Holly. We really appreciate the amount of knowledge, experience, and stories you have shared with us today. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'll probably be paying you a visit there on your website here shortly. If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode, and for that, we want to thank you. Let us know what you think about today's topic by leaving us a comment and a review of our podcast.
And if you found some value on the information shared in this podcast, please subscribe and share. And you can find us on our Facebook page, Unstuck Your Business, and join the conversation and engage with other entrepreneurs as together we help each other unstuck our business. Until next time.
Until next time.